Hello, I'm an old guy and I do maths, and today we're going to look at answering the question, what is a radian? Um, I don't think there's another topic in high school mathematics that I get asked more questions about um, than things involving the unit square, circular trigonometry, and so forth, and it all starts here. So you may accidentally have stumbled across radians when you've done something to alter the settings on your calculator and you're doing a bit of trigonometry, and suddenly up pops an answer that makes no sense. Instead of degrees, you get a number like 1.3 something. And what's happened is that your calculator has slipped into radians from degrees. Now, a radian is simply another way of measuring an angle. It's, I guess you could say that it's like going from metric to imperial measurements, or back the other way. So you can measure a distance in feet and inches, or you can measure it in meters. You can measure an angle in degrees, or you can measure it in radians. And so today I hope to explain how we come by measuring a radian, and to give you some handy conversions from radians to degrees and explain why that works. Okay, so let's get started. So we start with what we call the unit circle, sitting on a Cartesian plane, and this unit circle has a radius of 1. You can see that all the points of intersection have a measurement of 1, and that's important. It doesn't matter if it's 1 centimeter, 1 meter, 1 foot, or whatever. It's a unit. It's 1 unit, which is why it's called a unit circle. And each quadrant of this is 90 degrees, and so obviously from here around to here is 180 degrees, which will become important. Now, if we draw a radius from the origin out to the edge of the circle, the length of that radius is going to be 1, just as the length of this line here is 1. Okay? Now, if we draw that radius in such a way that the distance around from here to here is 1, so we have 1, 1, 1, the angle in here is 1 radian, R-A-D. It's abbreviated to rad, 1 radian. Now, that is approximately 57 point something degrees. So it's very close to 60. So if you were to draw in, I'll get a pencil to do this, if you were to draw in another couple of radians, so one would probably sit maybe about here, and the third one maybe about there. So you'd have 1 radian, 2 radians, 3 radians, and a little bit more to get you down to 180 degrees. So just remember that. There's 1, 2, 3 and a bit of these radians in that 180 degrees. And that we get our radian by having a segment of a circle that is 1, 1, and this little arc here is 1 as well, and that therefore the measurement in there in degrees is approximately 57 point something, or 1 radian. Okay, but remember this for what we're about to do. 1, 2, 3 and a bit radians to get round to 180 degrees. Okay, well, here comes the rest. So if we think of a circle in terms of its circumference, the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. 2 times pi times the radius. Radius, not radian, radius. And if we substitute for circumference the measurement around a circle in degrees, which is 360 degrees, and we are talking about our unit circle, the one that you just saw, with a radius of 1, then 360 degrees is equal to 2 times pi times 1, or 360 degrees is 2 pi, which we can write this way, which tends to read better. So 2 pi equals 360 degrees. And therefore pi, we can say, is equal to 180 degrees in the case of our unit circle. Now, it turns out that 1 radian is equal to 180 degrees divided by pi. And I'm going to get out the calculator to try and show you this. So I'm going to divide 180 degrees by pi, and what you're going to see is approximately what a radian is equal to in degrees. There we are. It's equal to 57.29. And if we multiply that back by pi, we will get 180 degrees. So there are pi radians in 180 degrees. Now pi is 3.1 something. Come back to this, 1, 2, 3 point, let's say 1 something. Pi radians, pi times radians, 3.14 radians in 180 degrees. 1 radian equals 180 degrees over pi. Right, we can put that to use. So we can say that pi radians are 180 degrees. Pi on 2, therefore, will be 90. Pi on 3, pi divided by 3 will give us, pi radians divided by 3 will give us 60 degrees. Divided by 4, 45 degrees, and divided by 6, 30 degrees. Now, these are the important basic measurements when it comes to dealing with the unit circle. And to be honest, these are the only ones you need to know. Everything else, certainly at the high school level, everything else stems from that. So if you wanted to say 120 degrees in this notation, well, it's 2 of these. So 120 degrees is equal to 2 times pi on 3, which is 2 pi on 3. And that's how you'd say 120 degrees. And so if you have these basics, you can multiply up to get what you need. So for instance, just to show off and do another one, 330 degrees. Well, that's 11 lots of 30 degrees. So that is 11 pi on 6, he says, getting it wrong, having shown off too much. Always a little bit tricky to write. 11 pi on 6, 11 times pi on 6, which is 11 times 30 degrees, 330 degrees. That's how that works. But this will be the subject of another video. Just to recap, get your head around how a radian is created. 1, 1, 1, and this angle in here is 1 radian. There are 3 and a bit radians and 180 degrees, which leads us to all of this. I hope that's cleared up a few things. I hope it's been useful. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.